good, YouTube? DM Gaming here, y'all. Sorry I didn't do a video yesterday. My internet was actually off, but we back in business. Anyway, y'all, I just listened to this morning. Sports Gamers Online had an interview with Clint Oldenburg at EA Play, and I'm gonna leave a link to the full interview in the description box down below. But I did take it was a pretty decent interview. He didn't really say much that we didn't know, except for the end. And that's what I'm gonna talk about today in some things that were mentioned by him. So I'm gonna let him talk about it real quick, and we'll be right back to discuss the first part, y'all. So stay tuned.
For the most part, they are. There's two important ones that have changed that I want to call out, however, and the one that you just alluded to is one of them. There's no longer a threshold for zone coverage. So 99 zone coverage is going to be the only way you're going to get that behavior you got last year on 91. And that's because, you know, you have to have some value when you get a 99 guy. He has to stand out well above the rest of them. So how that works now is it's going to scale. So between 90 and 99, it's going to scale. So a 90 guy can still break on the ball as if he was the 91 from last year. He's just going to be less likely to do it. So it's going to be less consistency there, but it is going to be scaling towards their actual ratings.
Okay, so y'all heard that. He asked him about thresholds, and would the thresholds be the same as they were last year? Were there some threshold things still going to be in the game from last year? And Clint's answer was essentially yes, and he said there are going to be some changes though, and he mentioned the zone coverage thresholds. Essentially, to make a long story short, in order for your player to be an efficient or to be one of the best zone players and break on balls in the zone coverages, he has to be a 99 overall. Now, and he said that would be the equivalent of how Madden 18 played with the 91 overall. So in Madden 18, if you were a 91 to a 99, you were basically top echelon in zone coverage, and you pretty much broke on any ball thrown in your zone in a sense. But now that's not going to be the case. You're going to have to be 99 overall to do that. If you're lower than 99 overall, then it's going to be iffy. Now, I don't trip that hard about this one because I like the fact that they're trying to make it to where if a player is 90, has an attribute that's 99 overall, he's going to perform like it. And I like that because that's the way that they did with NCAA. Dominant players felt dominant, and that's what they're trying to accomplish in Madden. And it's true, y'all, because y'all know, I just hope that this extends to other attributes, to other players and other positions, because even in Madden 18, y'all, I created a defensive lineman who was 99 on everything. This guy should build a house in the backfield, you know. But when you play with them, that doesn't happen. I mean, guys that are weaker, lower than him in stats would even pancake him sometimes. And it was like, wow, this is so unrealistic. You know, if I'm playing with a guy like J.J. Watt, with no injuries, of course, he should be able to dominate. He should be a factor, a Khalil Mack, you know, Aaron Darnold. Some of those guys, they should be able to dominate. And Ndamukong Suh, these, you know, good players should feel great. Superstars should play like superstars, but we didn't get that in Madden 18. But if what Clint just said bleeds over into other attributes for other players in different positions, then we could very well see that separation of good and great players. So that's interesting. And I still kind of feel like about it, you know, because there's some guys that aren't 99 overall in zone coverage that are still going to make good plays on the ball. But I think, you know, it's more iffy if you're below 99 overall. But if you're a guy that's 99 overall on zone coverage, you know, then you're going to be, it's going to show. And I like that, like I said, because if it is on other players, other attributes, other positions, then that's going to be really fun as far as finding that superstar athlete. Because one thing that they did say about the superstar trait, they said that, you know, in Madden 18, there's a lot of players with superstar traits. 19 is not going to be the case. I think they said there's only going to be about 40 players in the league that has a superstar development trait. And so the look that I'm getting from it, from the interviews and stuff like that, is that the same thing that they did with NCAA 14, that if a player was good, he is going to stand out. And if y'all played NCAA 14, if you've ever had a player that's like 90 99 overall, or if you've ever created a player with 99 overall stats, these guys literally own the game, and that's what we want to see. You know, you get guys out there like Odell Beckham Jr., you know, when he's healthy, and Tom Brady and guys like that, and they control and dictate the game. So it's going to be interesting to see that. So next, he's going to talk about some ball carrier threshold. So we'll be right back. Let's listen to that, and we'll dive into that as well, because that's where the meat is at in this interview, in my opinion.
And the second one deals with ball carrier fakeouts. So I know that was a big issue last year. A lot of players didn't like their user getting faked out when he was user controlled against the ball carrier special move. So the change we made there is user controlled defenders will never get faked out unless he's 25 points worse than the ball carrier. And what that matchup is looking at is the defender's pursuit rating, not tackle, versus the ball carrier's special move rating. So it would be like juke or spin versus pursuit. And if he's 25 points worse, he will have a chance to get faked out. Otherwise, he will not. But even if you are below that threshold, you're 25 points worse, maybe you have a backup in the game or something, and you're user controlling him, you can strafe. And if you're holding strafe, you also will not be faked out. So that's a big change.
Okay, so y'all heard that, and I'm gonna be honest, y'all. My very first time listening to it, I didn't like it. However, after I listened to it again, it did sound rather positive. Basically, what he was saying is that people were complaining that their user control player was getting juked and getting done in on the field with special moves from the running back. First of all, with that, I'm going to say just because you're controlling a player doesn't mean that you're guaranteed a tackle. It's just like in real life. If you're a defender, which I played defense in college and stuff like that, I've seen some of the best. I've seen guys in the NFL right now get done in. In basketball even, you've seen the great, like Michael Jordan and LeBron James, Steph Curry. You've seen guys like that get juked. I mean, not juked, but, you know, they get their ankles broken. You've seen guys in the league, Ray Lewis, getting trucked and ran over. You know, just because you're a top-notch player doesn't mean that you're immune to getting juked or ran over or getting hit sticked on, you know. And that's the part that bothers me with what he just said. Because essentially, if I do like the depth that they're trying to get with this, and that the defender's pursuit rating, if it's 25 points lower than I would assume an average of the running backs special moves rating. I don't know if they're gonna do it as a percentage, an average of the juke and the spin move together, combined with elusiveness, or if they're just going to do it as 25 points higher than the juke, then he can get juked out. 25 points lower than the spin move, then he can get spun on. If they're gonna do it that way, but yet and still, I do like that pursuit attribute finally matters, because prior to this, y'all, I don't think anybody even cared about pursuit, but it matters now. Pursuit is very huge. We used to do pursuit drills in football, but still, I digress. It's one of those things, y'all, where if you look at it on the surface, it sounds decent, but I don't know. I kind of don't really like it, because he said they will never, if my pursuit is 24 points or closer, if not higher, to their juke or spin rating, I will never get juked out. I will never get faked out. Being a user control player now, this isn't talking about AI. He's talking about user control player. And I know us as a user player, we like that because it's like, cool, I'm going to make that play. However, I don't like it because there should be some realism to that. You know, just because I'm controlling the player doesn't mean that I can't get juked out. You know, I kind of like the fact of I'm clicking on somebody trying to make a big play and then I get juked out. Even though it's not in my favor, it still adds to the realism of the game, because like I said, you've seen a lot of greats get juked out, spun move on, hit stick and stuff like that. Now, what he did say was, okay, to counteract that, if your player is lower, you know, if he is 25 points lower than the running back's special move ability rating, then if you use the strife, then he will not get juked out. Now, I kind of like that and I kind of don't. I'm gonna tell you why I don't like it first. Because just because somebody squares up to the ball carrier doesn't mean that they're not gonna get juked out or get a spun move done on them. That's unrealistic to football. You can put on highlight tapes right now and literally see guys get done in. I'm gonna tell y'all how to counteract that right now. I think that a counteraction to that is if they strafing, whatever you pronounce it, that's when you use that one cut move that they talked about. That's how you counteract that. When somebody's standing, because in order for them to do that, they're going to have to square their hips up, which means their hips aren't open, which means that if you do a speed juke, not necessarily a speed juke, but if you change your direction quickly, plant your foot and change direction, they're going to be at a disadvantage. But he didn't mention that, but I'm telling y'all, if the game is real, that's how you would be able to counteract it. Because I know people are saying, well, it doesn't matter. If you're lower, all you got to do is strafe and you'll make the play on the user tackle. How does that going to play when you're playing each other? That if you user control, then the ball carrier is not going to be able to juke him or spin move on him. Yeah, he might not be able to juke or spin move on the guy that's squared up to him. However, he should be able to change direction on the dime and leave that guy standing there because his hips aren't open. He isn't in motion and things of that nature. Now, where I do find it good at is that, well, actually, I'm going to be honest with you. I just don't think that's the only way that I think that it's good, is that if that's a way that you can counter that. Because otherwise, like I said, playing against computer, but when you're playing online against somebody, for y'all MUT players, and even for the connected franchise players that play online together, basically, if you're clicked on to somebody, if your rating is lower than theirs, then as far as pursuit to their special abilities, then all you have to do is straffle, and you're not going to get juked and he's not going to be able to spin move and you're going to make that play. Now, these are professionals, and in football sense, that's what you're taught to do. You're taught to square up to the ball carrier, break down, and that's to keep you from getting juked and spun moved on. So that element is realistic in a sense, but to say that they will never get juked out or spun move on is unrealistic because it still happens. You see what I'm saying? So it's interesting. It's still very, very interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And like I said, I think that should be the counter move to it because they mentioned one cut with the running backs and stuff like that. But they also mentioned how strife is so important on defense now that it's able to counteract that one cut move because you're broken down and you can change directions better, which is realistic to football, y'all. And I like it because it's finally making that move on defense matter. Strife didn't used to matter on defense that much, but it does now. And it goes completely with football physics in breaking down, squaring up to the ball carrier. Now, like I said, the only downside to doing that, as we all know, is if that guy is able to change direction and get upfield faster, then you can open your hips and start back running with him. But that's yet to be determined. So, like I said, the complete interview, leaving a link to it in the description box below. So go check that out and give him credit, Sports Gamers Online, for the interview, y'all. This is just a critique. So there shouldn't be any copyright infringements because it's an analysis of something. I'm not using it in its natural habitat in the sense of whatever. But y'all, thanks for watching the video. What do you think? Down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss an upload because y'all, I got a cluster of videos finna come out talking about franchise mode. We should be getting a more detailed breakdown of franchise mode this week. It is the week of the 11th. Also, next week of the 18th, we will be getting presentation breakdown. Now, I know people are going to say, didn't they already release information on franchise mode? No, they did, but I guarantee they have a playbook set up. So we're going to get more detailed stuff. So I expect to find out what types of things are going to be in single player franchise mode when you're playing as the player instead of the coach or the owner. So hopefully we get some information on that and we can find out if they actually put it in the game to where we'll be able to affect our draft rating and our attributes as opposed to just going in picking a first rounder, early pick and things like that and giving random stats as far as attributes. But that's all I got for right now, y'all. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Till next time, thanks for watching and God bless.